Welcome to another exciting and informative episode of Talking TVET. I am your host, Phil Henderson, looking to give you more food for thought on this exciting movement called the TVET Transformation Project. I am here with Mr. Cyrus Cepal, a prominent figure in the education sector of St. Lucia, who is currently serving as the Acting Deputy Chief Education Officer, it's a long title, in the Ministry of Education. Some of you may know him as a former principal of the Grand Riviere Secondary School,
yes, sir,
and some other stints in the education sector as well. So he's here to share with me his insights, his challenges, his journeys, probably some of the things that he's looking forward to. However, let me give you the official welcome and thank you for making the time. I know you pressed for time, but thank you for making the time to talk with us today about this, Mr. Cepal. How are you?
Thank you very much, sir. I'm good indeed. And then when you talk TVET, you talk my language. TVET is in my blood. Every part of me is TVET. Education, yes, but TVET also. So I'm excited to be here with you, and let me thank you and the team for inviting me to share some of my experiences, and as you said, probably how we move forward with this exciting journey of these 4 TVET schools. Listen, we are going to take St. Lucia by storm. We are going to transform education in St. Lucia. We are going to make sure everybody now, they would know that the talk of the town is the TVET institutions that we are establishing. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been thinking about it, you better start thinking about it, because the way forward is TVET education, and we are coming your way.
Ooh, that's a very peppery introduction, but very thank you for that. And you're quite right, this seems to be quite a bit of a movement. Everywhere you go, this is what you are hearing, and I must say that maybe if I could share some of the TVET unit's business. Your name was one of the first set of names that came up when we were conceptualizing this podcast. Everybody on the team unanimously had the same feeling. We need to talk to Mr. Cepal. We need to talk to Mr. Cepal, because he is not just a prominent figure, he's an advocate, he's an ally for the project, and is not just an ally in terms of what is happening now, but you've been an ally. From what I've understood, that you were one of the first to transform your school's curriculum into a TVET focused one during a period when it was not very popular at all. Tell me about that.
Right. Yes, well, with the advent of universal secondary education, and prior to that, I was the principal at Richford Combine, and then I was transferred to Grand Riviere Secondary with the transformation of, as I said, the universal secondary education. By the time we had received our first cohort of students, by the first year, the teachers came to me and then they told me, but Mr. Cepal, we need to redefine the concept of education. We need to understand that education is not simply the acquisition of 5 or more CXC subjects, but education is a holistic program. And by the time we received that, then we understood very well at the time that we had to redefine the program that we offer at Grand Riviere Secondary. So by the second year, we move into transforming the entire structure of education, not just simply a subject. You need to understand the difference between a subject and then a program that is for life. And that's where TVET is strong. So you have heard, I'm sure, a number of persons saying that TVET is not a subject. TVET is a program, TVET is an industry, and that's what we understood back then at Grand Riviere. So therefore, when I brought the idea to the ministry was not ready at the time. Now, I'm part of the ministry, but then I'm not bashing ourselves. But then at the time, the ministry was not ready for it. But then, listen, being somebody who is innovative and creative, we did not wait for the ministry at the time to when they were ready for us to start our program. I just simply asked the PS and the chief then to give us permission, and we are going to move ahead. And then we brought the staff together, and then we discussed what is it that we need. And then we integrated this TVET subject. So we introduced cosmetology. Okay, way back then in 2007, 2008. Then we had a teacher on staff to go and do a course in cosmetology to prepare her for that. Okay, then we introduced pastry. Okay, now at the time we had only one home ec room that was for F&N. So what we did now, we created another kitchen At the time, the ministry did not have the money, but then we begged everywhere and so on. And by the time the then deputy chief, which is the position that I am now, he heard of that. He came to the school to see what has been happening, and he said, Mr. Cepal, I heard you are creating a new kitchen. I said, yes, it's there already, functional. All right, so then we started the pastry program. And then listen, only this year a gentleman stopped me in Castries. He had I'm driving his car and so on. And then he told me, sir, do you remember me? I said, yes, man, you're one of the twins from Grand Riviere Secondary. And then he's one of those now. He started with his little basket selling his pastries in Castries. Then he moved to his bicycles, and now he has his car into that industry. And that's where he started with us at Grand Riviere with that program. Okay, then we introduced also tiling. We introduced plumbing. We introduced also furniture making.
I know the agriculture program.
Yes, so I'm coming to that. Then we introduced the crop production. So apart from CSEC agriculture, then we introduced crop production. And then listen, that took the school by storm, because we wrote a proposal to Australian Aid. And then we got some funding from Australian Aid to really push that crop production program. And then now we had the exciting Nintas, who was the one in charge of that program with us. And then listen, he would spend his entire life on the farm. Then what that created is an interest in the children to develop that program. So we started with sweet potatoes, then we went to eggplant, we went to the cucumber, the watermelon, and some other crops and so on, the fast crops. And listen to the exciting things. The children now, we put them into small groups, and everybody had their plot. And listen, on mornings when the children come, you would see them on the farm already, watering their crops and everything. It was almost like a competition. Who will better the other ones? And then now the exciting things would be on harvest days. When the children would have harvested, we would take them to the marketing board. So we had that arrangement with the marketing board, which is stationed at Otsa. And then the children would go with us to marketing board to sell the produce. So it was real life experience, as I said, that we had introduced to them. So that really generated the interest in them. And then to see that education, as I said, is not just simply one size fit all, but you have different components of education that will fit itself into the TVET program. So that's why from that time, 2007, 2008, 2009, that interest and that passion of TVET was developed, and then now we transformed Grand Riviere Secondary into that TVET school. So that's why now Grand Riviere, they are ready now to take that program by storm, and I would expect now Grand Riviere would be the model school, although I want now John Odlum to be the elite school because of the facility and then the position where it is and so on, to be that model TVET school.
For a particular course or a particular subject?
General. And then especially the special program that they will be offering. But then I want it to be such an institution that even the Caribbean would want to come to John Odlum. By that time, it will not be John Odlum. There may be another name attached to it to see what is happening. But all four schools will be a transforming school. And everybody, listen, we are going to pull children out from all the other secondary schools. Coming this year, we already establishing ourselves, preparing ourselves for the transfers that will be taking place. Because listen, you cannot stay somewhere where you may not have your needs, your career, because you have your career path. You want to know where you want to move. You want to, you're seeing what you want to be, and where you are at, it is not offering you that. So the TVET schools, listen, we are ready for you. We are taking you one by one.
What would you say are some of the challenges that you experienced from back then while switching to a TVET based course was not popular? What challenges did you experience? I remember you mentioned the Ministry of Education not being ready at the time, but perhaps speak to the students, parents, faculty, and so forth.
You know the truth, we did not have much to do to persuade persons, because what we did was that we said, okay, listen, we're using the first and second year as our baseline to see whether the program that has been given to us, whether it is working. Now we realized that it was not meeting the needs of everybody. So by the time we had the staff to come on board, and then we called parents and even the stakeholders to be on board, that was not much of a problem. However, the only little thing was that persons were still thinking of, well, CSEC is the only way of leaving school. Okay, that was the only thing to try to make them understand. So here it is. At that time, the note had come out that everybody who is leaving school must have 5 CXC subjects, including mathematics and English. And that's why I'm happy now that TVET program is offering the TVET mathematics, because you know the mathematics as it is structured, it is not structured for everybody. So that doesn't mean because you cannot get CXC math 1 or 2 that you are a dunce, sorry to use that term, in mathematics. There are different components of mathematics which is offered based on the program that you want to do, the correct path that you want to take, which will be aligned to what you want to do. So this is what TVET is doing now to make sure that you go that way. So as I said, one of the major challenges we had was the fact of persons not understanding the diversity that you can have in leaving school with a paper, with some education, rather than just the CXC subject.
Now, Mr. Cepal is known around these parts as probably the biggest ally or the biggest advocate for TVET, and you can hear it in his voice. You can hear the passion ooze from him when speaking with him. Mr. Cepal, if you don't mind me asking, what would you say are some of the success stories or success cases you have seen or are seeing emerge from the injection of the TVET transformation project, or TVET on a whole, in St. Lucia?
Okay, if we backpedal a little and even make mention of the sports academy. Okay, 5 years ago when this school was transformed from the normal secondary school into a sports academy, and then it has been growing, and then there is a huge success story from that school, and then we are taking examples from the sports academy in terms of how we move forward with the TVET program, the energy that it has created. And the whole idea now with the sports academy also is to integrate sports into the academics. So sports is supposed to propel the learning that is taking place. Now with the TVET program now, this is the same energy that we are seeing, this is the same energy that we are creating, because you may have a student who will be sitting at the desk, and then that student has no interest probably, or little interest in mathematics or in a science subject and so on. But by the time they would have developed that they are into a program which is in line with the career path, the career choice, what is it that they want to do, so this now will be used as the put it that way, the motivation to get them to the next point. So the TVET now will be used as the base, the interest, the motivation, okay, that will propel them to the next level. And then this is what we are seeing, and this is what we want to see. And you would hear now most schools are telling you the TVET subjects that they are already offering. For example, physical education. Most schools register 100% pass. The same set of students who will not be attending a certain subject when it is time for PE, when it is time for the TD, when it is time for auto mechanics, when it is time, just name it, they are there. I had my nephew who was a teacher at one of the secondary schools, and then he would tell me that when certain teachers are complaining that the students are trying to miss class or not presenting their reports, he would tell me that, listen, the students would flock his room even before the lesson because they are ready and excited to do it. So TVET has been going on in the other schools as a subject, but now, as we said, now with the transformation of these 4 schools now, it will not be considered as a subject. It is an industry. It is your life that we are preparing you for. And then I also must make mention that persons need to understand that we are not doing away with the CXC subjects, because you would have heard other persons speak to the fact that every child will be doing at least, or minimum or maximum, let me say, of 5 CXC subjects. And along with that now, you have now the TVET industry program that you would want. So yes, there is the transformation, and then there is the symbiotic relationship that will take place. And listen, that will also impact, listen, and I'm smiling because I'm seeing it is going to happen already. You see the discipline problem that we have at school? That will be something that we are going to see a big improvement, because most times when students find themselves in discipline problem, it's because something is missing in their life. You're not reaching out to them in something, a need. They have a need. They have something that they're coming to school for, and we are not meeting that need. So therefore, they find themselves now usually getting themselves into some other activity that may appear to be meeting that need. But when we have that transformation program, listen, we're going to take the island by storm, and then you're going to have now a discipline, a very improved discipline at all secondary schools.
What would you say are some of the things that we have learned from the sports academy, which was implemented 5 years ago, as you mentioned, but perhaps not with this level of 5 years is a long time,
right.
And many consultations. I was speaking to somebody else earlier who spoke about there's an industry assessment, very heavy industry assessment happening. I'm not sure to what degree this was done prior sports academy being initialized, but what were some of the things you'd say we have learned from then, and how are we seeking to correct it in the future, having that program?
Okay, number one, the sports academy, by the time the students come there, they know what sport they want to be. They know what sport they want to be part of, and then they want for their future. So then take, for example, Theo Edward, who is a West Indies under 17 player. By the time he came to the sports academy, this was the main focus, along with the academics. Remember I told you the two of them are going together. So therefore, he now having that vision that this is where he wants to go. So the program was tailored in order to give him that extra time to develop his cricketing skills, and also the academics that he would need to go with it. So having had that opportunity, then that gave him that put it that way, that advantage. Then you have Naya Jules. Naya Jules was a student who was already at another secondary school, and then when we saw the potential in her and so on, then we transferred her to the sports academy because of the interest and the potential we saw in her. And then Naya now is the Carifta pole vault champion. Okay, so having had that vision and seeing the potential in them and what they want to be, that developed in them the interest to be in the program and also to go forward with the academics. So when we move that now to the TVET program, any child who will be coming to one of the TVET schools, because we have some of the general programs that we offer at all of the schools, and then you have the main one that each school will be focusing on. So by the time the child would come to that school, this is what they want to do. You don't have them at a normal secondary school where they may think that what they are doing, it is not meeting their interests or their needs. So somebody want to become a professional dancer, and then that school is offering that. Then when they come to the school along with the CXC subjects, and that's what they're doing, that's the interest, that's the passion. Somebody wants to become a full-time mechanic. You come to that school and that's what is being offered. So you are not there trying to cope with the subjects that are being offered to you that you have no interest in. So coming from the sports academy, we saw that and how that motivated the children, and then we know now that with the TVET schools, that will be something that will work positively for us.
You mentioned the symbiotic relationship earlier, Mr. Cepal. Could you tell me a little bit about, or speak to a particular case, what of moving forward into the future?
Yes.
What would you say to those people who are marrying their CXC with TVET-based subjects, or with CVQ, sorry, and want to advance their education? How are we looking at that, and will it be possible, or is it possible?
Very nice question, sir. Okay, and then the education system. Listen, Ministry of Education, we in the process, and then we have a minister who is dynamic, who is active, always wants to see something happening and so on. So with this transformation that is taking place, TVET or CVQ and CXC will be on par. So it's not that somebody will be having CVQ and then that CVQ cannot be used to take you further. That's why we are having a lot of consultation now with even the industries. So when they ask the students to provide their portfolio or their results, then it will not just simply show CXC. It will show their CVQ, and then everybody will understand the value of the CVQ to the CXC, and they will understand that. So even matriculating to universities, to community colleges and so on. So when they get your certificate, we're in the process of establishing that and also certifying the standards, the value of the CVQ that they will be doing. So whether it is level 1, level 2, level 3, so you would know this community college, this university, this other college, they are accepting level 1, level 2, level 3. So you prepare yourself, and then you get that along with the CXC subject. So it will no more be just simplified CXC subjects. The institution may tell you, you can have 2, 3, 4 CXC subjects along with the CVQ certificate that you would have attained. So this is the way forward, and as I said, it is exciting, and I'm happy to be part of this transformation that is taking place in St. Lucia in our education system. So people, listen, if you are not getting the excitement yet and that energy, you better get into it, and come to the TVET department. They will be happy to get you into the groove.
Some of the challenges that he has been experiencing with the TVET project, not just with the transformation project of the 4 secondary schools, but with the TVET movement in St. Lucia as a whole. And again, I'd like to thank you for making the time for being here with me, Mr. Cepal.
Most welcome.
We were talking about the transcendence of TVET from one education base to another, but I want to ask you a little bit about, I want to shift gears a little bit and ask you about the advice that you would give to the principals, to the faculty of the 4 TVET schools and to the other associates, I should say, where TVET is more focused. What would you say to them?
Okay, let's put it that way. The face of the school would be administration and the rest of the staff. The image of the school, administration and the rest of the staff. And when I say staff, not just the teaching staff, ancillary staff, adjunct staff, everybody. Okay? The energy of the institution will be derived from what this group of people can give. So when they speak, they have to speak from even what they don't see. And then they speak that it will happen, even though they don't know that it will happen.
You want them to have mustard seed faith?
Yes, so I'm almost want to take my preaching mic now and then tell them they have to move like Moses. When God told Moses to cross the Red Sea, Moses reached close to the sea and he did not see that the sea had parted yet, but he had to move and touch the water. So that's the kind of energy. So I know the meetings that we have had and the consultations with administration and the rest of the staff, I know that's the energy they have. And that's the energy we want them to continue to have. So they are going to, the way they move, the way they talk, the actions they show, the way they invite the public, the visitors, the stakeholders and so on, that will make or break the program. So we at the Ministry of Education, the minister to the PS, the chief and everybody else, the TVET unit, we can have all the great excitement that we have and so on. But if the school level, that energy now does not filter down to the school and every single person that would touch base at that school. It is like, put it that way, sir. You see, by the time you enter the atmosphere of that school, you feel like, whew, you enter into the different atmosphere, a different environment. Something is happening around here. So that's the energy we want. Administration, principal, vice principal, everybody else who is at the school, we want them to do. And also to continue to promote the program. That yes, it is a new program, we are starting something new, then we are not thinking about what will not happen. We are thinking, we are taking it as Martin Luther King, one of my greatest model leaders, where he said that when something has come your way and it is a new challenge, he said that you move with urgency in the way you approach it. And he said that you approach it with one aim, that you're going to accomplish it. You don't have any percentage thing of saying that it may not happen. No. There's nothing like that. You move with it. So therefore, by the time, as I said, we hit the road, the stakeholders hear about it, and then they come to the school and they feel the energy, the passion among the principal, the staff, the students, because we have to transfer that to the students. What we tell the students they will get, we cannot now present them something else. We have to keep the energy. And then this is where also we present education as the holistic program. So then we are showing them now education is not the traditional way of persons thinking that they are in a prison wall, and then they just simply sit there and the teacher is at the front now lecturing for the entire day. No, education is part of you. It's what makes things happen. So then the students will be very involved and so on. So that's the kind of energy we want to see from everybody at the school. And let me tell you, with that energy I know they will give, we will be succeeding.
And I know you'll continue to give it. Mr. Cepal, could you tell me, as acting deputy CEO, what are some of the things you are looking forward to, or what are some of the things that you are working on to make this better for St. Lucia?
Okay, let's put it that way. Along with the chief, because the chief and the deputy chief work hand in hand. And then now the whole idea is that, let me just simply establish that policy, which is the PS, the minister, deputy PS, they make the decision and they vote on the decision. After this has happened, then they transfer it to school supervision, where you have the chief and deputy chief and the other departments, including TVET, where we operationalize the decision that has been taken by policy. So the TVET transformation is a policy, and we have to operationalize it. So therefore, the chief is very strong on that, along with all of us, in terms of making it happen, being different, presenting it as a better option. Okay, because we have an education system that we inherited from Britain, okay, from England, from hundreds of years ago. So I'm happy now that the government has seen the need for us to make amendment to that education structure and see the need to move it forward. So yes, as the deputy chief in charge of instruction, these are some of the things that we are pushing. That's why I'm so intimately involved in that transformation process. And then now we are looking at other programs. A critical one now is the social skills. And then I always make mention of I'm sorry to call him by his nickname, Paba, all right, who made a presentation at SAFA once, and he said, he challenged SAFA at our graduation. He said, if you receive a student who was a thief, and then he is living with all of his A-levels, but you made no adjustment to his social life to change him from the thief, you are just simply giving out there a more qualified thief. So therefore, we have to pause and acknowledge that we have to take time for the social development, the emotional development, the whole psychological development of the child. And the TVET program, it is offering that. And we are also implementing that in the other schools. So yes, it's important to have the 8, 9, 10 CXC subjects or other academic subjects, but then we have to pull back and spend some time on trying to meet that emotional need, that social need, that thing that is missing in that child, that the child probably living home, a broken society. The child has no hope. The child is coming to the school to get that hope. So we have to pause a while, and the child sitting in an English class, in a mathematics class, in a social studies class, and then that child has that burning desire, one that need to be met. So sometimes you have to pause. And this is what Ministry of Education, we are encouraging the schools to do. There are times, and that's why we have the counselors now, and I'm happy for the government now that they have agreed to have more counselors being attached to the districts. So all of these things are things we are doing. Another area that we are working on now, and then we have Dr. Delia, who is working with us on that, is a mathematics improvement, because we have realized that the performance in mathematics, it is way below expectations. The government had given us a mandate that by 2023, at least 60% of our students should be succeeding in mathematics, but this is not happening yet. So the CAMDU department, along with the 2 mathematics coordinators, curriculum officers, we have already started discussion, okay, and then we are going to see how we move forward to improve mathematics, and also a number of the subject areas that we'll be offering. I was speaking to Mr. Robinson, who is in charge of the foreign language, and then he was telling me also about the possibility of increasing manpower in that department, because as you realize now, foreign language is critical in moving forward also, because we live in a universal society now. It's no more St. Lucia as we knew it to be. It's a universal society that you live in. So all of these things that are happening, and then you must have heard also of the new education act that is coming. You must have heard of the new curriculum that we are establishing. You must have heard also of the new early childhood development program that is being developed. You must have heard of also of the pre-K program that is being offered to the primary schools. Okay, so all of these, you must have heard of the new education sector development plan that is being developed. Okay, and then if I can continue, all the new things, the transformation. So yes, Ministry of Education, as I said, going for a transformation, and then we are ready to hit the road and then to take the island by storm. Not just with the TVET program, but we have a number of other initiatives taking place.
Let me, as we wrap up, Mr. Cepal, there's just 2 things I want you to touch on. I asked you about the leadership faculty in the schools, and you spoke to them.
Right.
I spoke to you about what is your role moving forward and some of the things that you are looking forward to. Perhaps you could speak to the public. We still have the stigma. Research suggests that we still have the stigma amongst the public that one CXC may be equal to one CSEC. One CVQ may be equal to one CSEC subject. Could you elaborate on that a little bit so that we can provide some information as to how this differs from curriculum to assessment to even the portfolio of evidence that is presented at a CVQ level, and how this influences work?
Yes, so again, you have posed to me a very interesting question, deep question, thought-provoking question, because you have many persons in society who do not understand the dynamism in education, the whole structure of education, the level of, put it that way, differentiation that you get in education. So the whole idea of the one-size-fits-all, we have moved away from that system, and we are now in a system where education is seen in a holistic structure. So put it that way, the CSEC subjects will always remain. CSEC subjects, especially the pure academics, will show your intelligence. But here is now, the TVET CVQ subjects will even further show your greater intelligence. And that's the myth that we want to dispel. Persons tend to think that the CVQ subject is a below par certification for persons who may not have the academic prowess. So these are the persons. But no, both the set that have the academic prowess and the set that may have the technical skills, because the idea of academically inclined or not, no, that term does not exist. You just have different levels. According to the psychologist, your maturation level, your cognitive structure will develop at different times. And TVET now is bridging that gap. That's what TVET is doing, bridging that gap. So your mental age and your chronological age may not be on par at this moment, but then TVET now is going to rewire your entire network to bring your chronological age to be on par with your mental age. Okay, so therefore now with that, a CSEC subject will have the same value with a CVQ subject. A CVQ subject may have even more value than the CSEC subject at times, and it may go vice versa. Let me give you an example. A student who has done FNN, the FNN exam will give them about 2 or 3 hours, okay, to prepare one meal. That child will live with a 1 in CSEC FNN for one meal. But then the CVQ, whether in that culinary business, okay, that child is doing, you will have to do 20 meals, let us say, if it is for 1 hour. And then now that competency level must show that you have to be able to give good produce, put it that way, okay, for want of a better term, to make sure that by that 1 hour you can produce that 20 meals that everybody will say, yes, who prepared those meals for me? Now the students will continue that process. If you have not mastered that competency, you have to do it over. Do it over until you have mastered that competency. Then your portfolio will show that this child went through the process and was able by that time now to successfully produce or complete the 20 meals within the 30 minutes or 1 hour component. So that's the advantage that the CVQ will give you. So by the time a child goes to let us say the hotel, and then a child comes with the FNN 1, and the child has the CVQ level 1, 2 or 3, the manager who understands what that is all about will quicker take the CVQ, because you know now that when your guests come, they require you to produce. Then also, let us take an example of auto mechanics or small engine repairs. The child will not complete, if it is whatever component of the small engine that you're working on, you will not stop that until you perfect it.
So there's mastery of the class.
Mastery. That's what you're developing, mastery. So each unit, you're developing the mastery of that unit. So unit 1, you master it, then you move to unit 2, you master it. So it's not like we used to do sometimes teaching students for CSEC. So we know that there is a high possibility that fractions will come. So we give a heavy emphasis on fractions. Then probably Geometry may not come too much, so we spend just a little bit of time on geometry, but the child will still live with the one. Okay? In mathematics.
But what if their job requires them to know more geometry than
That's the disadvantage. But then with the CVQ, you're not going anywhere. You're staying there until you have to master every single unit before you can get the level certification. So yes, depending on the industry that you go to and then what is required of you, there are times that, as I said, the CVQ will have more value than the CSEC, and there are times now, as I said, the CSEC may have more value, but the two of them, they are on par. So parents, don't be afraid. They are on par.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Cepal. I really appreciate you making the time for coming and sit here with me on Talking to Vet. This was another informative and exciting episode of Talking to Vet with Phil Henderson. I was joined here today by the Acting Deputy Chief Education Officer, Mr. Cyrus Cepal. Thank you again, Mr. Cepal, for your information. It was a brilliant conversation. I know the audience would love it. For those of you listening on the digital platforms, Talking to Vet is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere that you get your usual podcast from. It's also available on YouTube, whatever platform you are listening to me on. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe so we can share this information with all stakeholders and anyone who would be interested in seeing the advancement of the education industry, education sector in St. Lucia. Thank you very much. Catch me next week.